Coming up on today's Swim episode.
Is not the same level of scrutiny that another musician will apply to that same song. So the point is, I'm telling you just to relax a bit. If you're getting destroyed by another musician in terms of your musicianship, try not to let that get into your head.
This is Swim, Success with Music.
Yo, what up, music fam? This is Walt, and you are listening to Success with Music. I am your music coach, and Swim is a podcast for singers, songwriters, beat makers, music students. We are always, constantly about the music life, and I appreciate you listening to our newest episode this week. And again, if you're new to the show, my name is Walt. I am the Swim music coach. My goal is to help you go further in your music career, your music dreams. And we do that by way of offering practical tips, insight, and knowledge for those of you who are looking to take your music to the next level, take your sales to the next level, take your brand, your music brand to the next level. So that's our main goal. And I'm hoping to share some things with you today that will help you in that regard. So if you notice, we've been away for a bit of time. I do apologize about that, but had a pretty major paying client show up. So I had to take care of a major music project. So all of my extra time has been really about taking care of this client and dealing with some music specifically for a commercial. So we're kind of working through some drafts and things like that. And having said that, if you're new to the show, I, for many years, have produced music for commercials and things like that. And this newest project is no different. And some people have asked about how I got into this area and my successes in this area. And more specifically, how I go about creating music for commercials and advertisements and things like that. And some of the secrets that I use for composing music in a very short amount of time, like 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds in some instances. It's really all about knowing how to create a powerful melody in a very short amount of time, and actually provide some of that insight in one of our classes, our online classes, which can be found at successwithmusic.com. And that class is the Swim Master Melody course. So learn the secrets that I use to create powerful melodies, whether it be in a commercial, maybe for you, for a song, no matter the application. If you enroll in this program, make the investment, I'm telling you, you will learn how to take your music writing, your production to the next level. Again, our course is called the Swim Master Melody course. Check it out at our website, successwithmusic.com. So this episode should have been a different title, a different subject altogether. It was going to be more of a multi-part series on something very technical, and I'm still going to do the series of shows that I'm talking about. So I'm going to keep the subject hidden just for a while, and they will be coming out. Trust me, it will help you in terms of your production and getting some better sounds for your music. But I decided to change topics today because I was taken off track by this troll, this dude online that, for whatever reason, decided that he was going to, I guess, try to obliterate me in a few different places online with respect to some music-related stuff I had out there. And honestly, I could not understand why this guy was so intent on just publicly trying to dismantle me, trying to discredit me, I felt like, with respect to some of the music material I had online. I don't know the guy. I never worked with this guy. From what I can tell from his profile, we're in separate countries, different time zones, different age groups, different walks of life. I don't think this guy, literally and figuratively, is a fan. I don't get it. But that led me to this topic today because I got so frustrated with this person. And to a large degree, it did psychologically kind of take me off my game for a while. And today I want to deal with the subject of handling negative reviews, specifically about your music or negative feedback or input related to your music, things that you care about, your production. And sometimes we get feedback that is really tough, really annoying, downright infuriating, and I want to give you a bit of insight as to how to deal with that. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so as I mentioned, this guy showed up out of nowhere. I post some of my music related stuff online, and it felt like it was his mission and his job and purpose in life was to publicly tell everyone how I essentially sucked, was an idiot, didn't belong online, my stuff didn't belong there, and all of that. And maybe that's happened to you. Maybe you were or have been excited about a new piece of music or a new album. Maybe it was a show, and a lot of us, we have our different music pages or band pages or, websites and things like that. I run several, successwithmusic.com being one of them. And there are times where people will show up and have things to say about your music, have things to say about your creativity or lack thereof, I guess. And dealing with these things, it's a major part of navigating this music world because, I don't know, it's a split, right? On one side of it, you want to provide music that people like. But if people don't like your music, well, what are you doing, right? But then there's this other element where sometimes, and to a certain degree, I'll tell you, hey, you just need to ignore some of the haters out there and you need to keep pushing forward. It's kind of hard to do that when the very people that are hating on that may be hating on your music, those are some people you hope that will like your music. So how do you make heads or tails of negative feedback? So I'm going to give you a few tips and a few pieces of insight that I had to walk out and still kind of navigating to a certain degree. And I'm hoping that it will be valuable for you. So as we usually do, I'm going to do this by offering several tips. All right, so let's do it. The first tip and the obvious tip is you should understand that music is subjective. It's all about the individual listener. And again, I know that we know this, but a lot of times when it comes to our art, the time that we've put into our art, the craftsmanship and things like that, you have an emotional attachment to your music and what you put out. And when someone else just shows up out of nowhere and just says, yeah, it's trash, I don't like it, it's something not positive, it's hard to separate the creative process and the work that you've put into it, maybe money, going to a studio or buying equipment or what have you. It's hard to separate yourself from that. And then someone can just show up out of nowhere, do a drive-by and tell you that you're trash, and then they're off into the night, and you're just left wondering about why do you exist as a human being or as a musician for that matter. But again, my first tip is it's important to remember that everyone has an opinion, and you cannot take everyone's opinion and make it the gold standard for what you do as a musician. Here's a weird and odd thing, and maybe some of you out there may be in this boat. I've been creating music for a very, very long time. For whatever reason, my wife and I, we have very, very, very different musical tastes. So when I'm working with a new artist or I'm working on a new track, she'll hear me in the studio, doing a few things, or I'll bring some things home and say, hey, check this out. And to be direct with you, there have been times where she's like, a lot of times, she's not feeling it. She doesn't like it. And it's not because what I'm creating is bad or it's not good. It's just not her taste. So even with someone that I love and respect and want to spend the rest of my life with does not like my music, well, guess what? The average troll online that has nothing better else to do, what do you think they're going to do for you? They're not going to say something positive. So the point is, just keep in mind that music is highly subjective. So even your best friends, your family members may not get what you are all about. That's okay. Try to emotionally disentangle yourself from negative feelings when people are saying, yeah, I don't like that style of music. I don't like that voice. That's great. You don't even like the style of music, so don't give it a lot of weight. Okay, next tip for you. Try to be very careful about where you get feedback from, specifically from musicians. And I know I may get in trouble for saying this, but musicians sometimes, when you ask another musician about music, they're very tough on other musicians. And I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of being like a hypocrite, because when people bring music to me, I'm kind of tough on music. This is what I do. I'm a music coach, so I'm automatically thinking about the production value. I'm thinking about the lyrical content. I'm thinking about, your chord structures and your melody and things like that. So yeah, I'm a little picky when it comes to music. And the same will be true for you if you let another musician evaluate your music. Now, here's the point I'm making. Can another musician have valuable feedback for you? Absolutely. That's why people come to me and ask my opinion about their music. But here's the biggest caveat. If you are making music for the wider public, if you are making music for the average person out there, the average person will not be a high-level musician like you are. The average person is not a songwriter like you are, or a producer like you are. So the level of scrutiny is not the same level of scrutiny that another musician will apply to that same song. So the point is, I'm telling you just to relax a bit. If you're getting destroyed by another musician in terms of your musicianship, try not to let that get into your head. They can help you grow technically, absolutely, but they're not the final word. And I've said this on other podcasts. I've seen really trashy, crappy songs do quite well. You've probably seen musicians and artists who can't sing, can't rap, can't put two sentences together, and they're multimillionaires. Why is that? Whatever they're putting out there, the average person likes. So sometimes it's not all about the musicianship. Sorry, I have to say that. It's just whether or not you simply like a song. And again, it hurts me to say that as a music trainer, but it's true. Sometimes even the less technical songs, or the less complex songs, those are the ones that do well sometimes. So just keep that in mind. Know who your audience is and take the feedback from the average listener more seriously than the music person, due to the fact that they're going to be a lot more critical on you. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Next thing here, if you happen to get some negative feedback, like I did online about, what you're doing musically, try not to retaliate. Try not to retaliate. Again, we have an emotional attachment to our music, right? And if someone online or in some kind of forum says, yeah, the show was whack, the show was trash, the show was boring, I wasted my money on your song, whatever it may be, try not to retaliate. Try not to say something that you'll regret. I understand that some people may come for you. I get it. But you have to understand that you represent your own musical brand. So if you then clap back and say something harsh, profanity filled, or what have you, you start to lower your brand. You start to, tell people publicly who you are. Be more restrained. In fact, I would engage that person, but not engage them in getting into the mud. I would even probably thank the person and say, hey, you know what? I appreciate you taking the time to listen to the track and offer us feedback. And then you can maybe say something else, related to their comment and kind of say, hey, you know what? Hey, point taken. I heard what you had to say. We most certainly will look at, your comments as we move forward and create material. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to our tracks. It means a lot. Boom, you're done. You may disagree with everything. You may think this person is an abject idiot. But again, in a public forum, try not to retaliate. It makes you look better as a brand. And in fact, I'll use a non-musical example. Have you ever been there are times where I'm looking for like a restaurant in my city, and I may go to Google and just look up the restaurant. Invariably, I'm looking at reviews, right? I don't want to go to a restaurant that has like 1-star reviews. So in the instances where, let's say, a restaurant gets a bad review, I find it very encouraging when, let's say, the restaurant owner or the manager will hop on in response to a negative review and say, hey, you know what? We so apologize about your negative experience. Call this number. We hope to make it right or what have you. And I like that. At least they're trying to value the opinion of the average person out there. I did see one the other day where people were just saying, hey, this company they're just like rip-off artists. They're dishonest. And every